Now we're gonna talk Oppenheimer, aka Oppenheimer,
aka Oppenheimer, aka Brown Lightning.
Classic reference. I thought you were gonna say aka Cockenheimer, but
I missed the moment.
which we'll get to definitely.
Yeah.
Enough of that.
As we'll get to, he does hit a pose where he hits the ball Bustenheimer.
We will talk about that. Spoilers for Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
Oppenheimer, overall, I went into this with tempered expectations because
Okay.
I have two friends who had seen it before going in. One of them gave it a 5-star, one of them gave it a 1-star.
Okay, well,
I'd
again,
heard
as I said before, your friend who gives it a 1-star, I know who it is, by the way.
I named names.
He told me straight up. Shit is ridiculous.
There was some
What is that about?
there was some tension there, and I mean, yeah, this will lead to some mini beefs if you ever meet this man. But
Of course. Might have to throw down.
that being said, what he explained to me that he didn't like about it, I do most of the complaints I'm gonna have are basically what he said. I just think it did not affect my experience nearly as much as it affected his.
Okay.
But overall, I would say pretty great.
Pretty damn good movie.
Pretty great. Yeah.
I haven't done my Letterboxd review, but I'm thinking 4 stars.
I went with a cheeky 4.
Okay.
And as we'll get to, definitely some problems.
Yeah.
We love to talk problems here. We're
But
kind of-
also definitely some big highs in terms of in things that other people maybe don't see. But goddamn, did we have a good time with
geniuses
it?
like us. If the rest of the movie wasn't really captivating for me, these problems would bring it down more. Because I there were quite a few moments where I was like, I don't like that. But
Yeah.
because a lot of the movie is, I think, really fucking great.
Yeah.
That keeps it at a
Exactly.
4. I think in terms of just like,
Let's talk negatives. What things did you not enjoy?
should we not start positives? I feel like we always go negatives first.
Okay.
Actually, I'm trying to get away from that Indiana stink that I have on my...
So you're saying you want to end on a negative note?
Yes.
Exactly.
I need a little bit of that Indiana.
Trying to get away
Can't
a
go
little
without
bit.
it. Look, in terms of positives, I think fucking fantastic performances all around.
Agreed.
Matt Damon's still good. I don't know if he's as great as everyone else. He has a couple of...
I like him.
He was good, but
I don't think I didn't sit there and be like, oh, Matt Damon, yeah, it's kind of weird.
He wasn't bad, I think, compared to other... I think he was just kind of like Matt Damon, actor. He's a good actor. He was just like...
He wasn't bad. He did what Matt Damon could possibly do.
I feel like other actors really stood out to me. I was just like, kind of like... But I mean, Matt Damon.
Yeah, I get you, but at the same time, like, he's supposed to be, what was he, like a general, a colonel, or whatever he was. Not supposed to show too much emotion.
No, he was.
I guess.
He was good. I don't know why I singled him out. I think it's because there's one line that we'll get to that I thought was kind of goofily delivered.
Okay, yeah.
But I think Cillian Murphy is fucking fantastic in this.
He is great.
I
yeah.
think he captures. I mean, obviously there's the guilt and the harrowing, whatever trauma and all that. But I think he also, because that's all I really knew about Oppenheimer. I didn't know anything about his personality. I just thought I knew he's the guy who made the atomic bomb, and then he was racked with guilt for forever, whatever. But he also has I don't want to say a devilish charm, but
I don't want to say my boy Ballin.
he has a weird charisma to him, and you can see, he's also, not the greatest bloke in terms of marriages and stuff, but you can see how he's not just kind of like this miserable fuck, and you're like, why does anyone talk to him or like him or give him these opportunities or the mistresses and all that. You can see he has this kind of dead-eyed charm and charisma. I don't know, it was a really...
Well, he's not, obviously he's a weirdo in some regards, but he's not, a complete, social outcast.
Yeah, he sort of has, a bit of a...
He's got that,
not even narcissistic, but a little bit of a...
He's got that Ted Bundy vibe.
Well, I don't know if I'd say that, but I just thought Cillian Murphy pulled off everything he was supposed to do in this fantastically. And I thought, everyone else... Should we go through the cast real quick? Because it's a fucking enormous cast.
It is a huge cast.
And there are some very amusing additions. There was one point where you just turned to me and whispered in my ear, Roderick rules?
And you looked at me and you said, oh my god.
That is Roderick. So we have Cillian Murphy. Robert Downey Jr. I thought was quite good.
Pretty good.
He was very good.
Yeah.
Emily Blunt was very good.
She had that one badass scene that I very much enjoyed.
That was quite great. Florence Pugh was quite good. Not in it much. Doesn't do much.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't want to say... I'm not trying to be a
I don't want to say
prude.
Toppenheimer.
I don't want to be a prude, but I'll say maybe slightly excessive moments. Rami Malek, as you sent me a TikTok, coming in clutch.
He really does, though. He comes in with
Coming
the
in
ultimate...
for the 1v15. It's such a random, like, just, I guess it's not the movie's fault, but he shows up for like 30 seconds earlier, and I'm like, well, they definitely didn't get Rami Malek just to stand there and get shit on by fucking Robert Downey Jr. for 2 seconds.
Yeah, exactly.
So he's definitely gonna come in handy later.
And this is obviously my own fault, but I wasn't really...
I've just pointed out Tom Conti is Albert Einstein. Oh shit!
I told you!
Oh my god,
you laughed at me!
Oh, I'm so... Okay,
Gary Oldman is Harry S. Truman. And I said that yesterday. I was like, was that Gary Oldman? You're like, I don't think so.
Fucking moron.
Boom!
Damn. Okay, now I hold my hands up. But Devin Bostick, Roderick Rules coming in for a quick...
He vomits a bit?
He comes in for a quick vomit. He has like a couple lines.
That's pretty much it, right?
That's about it. Jack Quaid is there for, a couple lines. Mm-hmm. Matt Damon, Josh Peck.
Gary Oldman's there as who?
Josh Hartnett, David Desmalchin, Gary Oldman, Casey Affleck, Dane DeHaan. I mean, now we're just listing actors, but
Gustav Skarsgård, the guy from Vikings.
Oh, let's go. Kenneth, we'll get to Kenneth. Jason Clarke, Alden Ehrenreich. Yeah, by the way, Alden Ehrenreich, he did Solo, disappeared since Solo, and then he's been in Cocaine Bear and Oppenheimer. Are we seeing the Aaron Reichenssons? I'm fucking here for it. I really like Alden Ehrenreich.
I like it.
And yeah, just a bunch of other people, a lot of actors. I think generally well utilized. Everyone's very good. I'd say the standouts definitely Cillian Murphy, probably Emily Blunt. Mm-hmm. Although initially I was a little bit like, God, this is a shitty, like, we'll talk about some not subtle writing, but there was sort of just like, and now I'm drunk. I'm the drunk wife. I hate you. And I was a little bit like, this is going to be sort of generic. But then she gets a little bit, to do, which is nice.
Yeah, exactly. No, but there is a scene where he comes home and like the baby's crying and she's like,
yeah,
I've been going to him every fucking time during the day.
Let me carry the bottle away because I'm a drunk now.
I'm an alcoholic.
Right.
It's like,
got it. We got it,
Emily.
Christopher.
But I could write that so much better.
Yeah, this is the theme of this. We're better than Hollywood screenwriters.
We're better than Christopher Nolan.
Also, probably shouldn't say that during the SAG strike when, like, yeah, sorry. But look, yeah, overall great cast. And I think just the biggest problem the guy who gave it 1 star, my friend, had was the editing. And at times I definitely get it because I was like, there's just like weird editing and there's like just like little cuts where it's like it's an establishing shot for like 2 seconds, then it's fucking, it was just like kind of like, I don't know. That stuff I get, but for me that was just like little moments. I think overall I thought the editing was pretty great.
It was pretty great, yeah.
It was because he was talking about how scenes like don't really start and finish, and I see that definitely. And in another movie that might bother me more, but in this one it builds this like frenetic, crazy pace that I think keeps it really engaging.
Because it's a long movie, right? If it was just like the kind of like generic editing where you finish scenes and everything like that, I feel like it gets boring. You lose some of the captivation with it and stuff like that. But here, because it's a bit all over the place at times, it keeps you engaged.
I felt like it kept a really, like, I don't know, tense atmosphere. Mm-hmm. It kept it, just incredibly engaging. I think it's definitely to the movie's detriment towards the latter part of the film.
Yeah.
When I think it gets fucking... The way... I don't know, this is a weird comparison I thought of on the way home, but it's kind of like, when you're on a run and you...
No.
Yeah.
Could not tell you.
What are you talking about? And you start the run and you're kind of... I don't know, you're tired, but you're feeling great and you're sort of like, you're in it. You feel like the hormones are going, whatever. If that's... Hormones going? Endorphins?
Are you talking runner's high or what?
No, I don't know. Just like you're running, you feel good when you start running a little bit. And then if it's like a long run, you sort of get to a stretch where you're kind of just like in it. Like, you're not really noticing that you're running anymore. You're just kind of like, running along. And you're kind of just like, I don't know, phased out. And then towards the end, you get back into it and you're kind of like, get that last stretch, whatever. That's kind of what this feels like. It's like a fast, like, you're like, I don't know, it's really engaging.
And then there's a few kilometers where you're like,
there's a bit of a lull where I'm kind of like,
I'm existing.
Yeah, it's just kind of happening. And we'll get to that, which was, I think, probably my biggest problem with it. But I think overall keeps this really intense pace.
Exactly.
That is like...
Because for a movie that's pretty much all dialogue, it needs... Yeah. It needs to have a certain edge, which I think it has.
And I don't know, I felt like it kind of, I'm not trying to make excuses for like maybe, weird pacing, but I felt like it sort of also reflected Oppenheimer. It's kind of, because it feels like just like one continuous scene almost. Like you don't really get a break. Yeah. And it kind of, I guess that sort of reflects Oppenheimer's life where it's all kind of chaotic and he's a lot of shit going on in his mind.
Film student. Oh, he's saying it. He's spitting.
But yeah, and the other big thing that I'd say is great. visuals. I mean, obviously the explosions, fantastic practical.
Yeah.
Actually nuked the desert in there. I don't know, because they did all this practical stuff. I don't know how they actually. I guess they did like a really big explosion, but I guess there's gotta be some CGI involved there. But
I don't know.
And just visually, like just the cinematography and stuff. Just Nolan's movies always look amazing. And it was a amazing looking film. Yeah.
Should we talk great nutty scenes that we very much
enjoyed? Do we go for nuttiness before we get to some negatives? I think we might
so.
Because you wouldn't think as two very silly, goofy men.
Yeah, you wouldn't think that
this movie would have a lot.
Yeah, but nay.
But oh boy, did it have some goodies for us? I mean, okay. First of all, the namesake of the film, Oppenheimer.
Yeah, obviously great.
So there's some brief sex scenes.
Yeah.
Which is, whatever.
And
then there are two moments. One
where Emily Blunt is sitting behind Killian, right?
Yeah.
And she looks up and then Killian is just completely nude. And then Florence Pugh is going to town.
Right.
She's doing the Oppenheimer.
Right, as it's
she's hitting that on Oppenheimer of him.
Yes. And that was
making direct eye contact with Emily Blunt.
And we'd like to stress, if you haven't seen the movie, it's done artistically where
it's done very tastefully. I enjoyed it.
Where he's still in the boardroom scene,
yeah,
but it's Emily Blunt's vision of him, having sex with Florence Pugh.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's just sitting at this boardroom table with all these guys in suits around it, just absolutely getting the shit written out of him. So that's what a horrible phrase, getting the shit written out of him. I didn't realize how that was going to sound until I said it out loud. That's a mad sentence.
It's truly a visceral image.
And then the other moment, of course.
The other moment in which I don't know what's going on. But there is and I assume it's post-coitus.
We assume post-coitus.
Although it could be mid-coitus, knowing Oppenheimer. Who knows?
There's no way to know.
There's really no telling with this man. But there is a scene where Florence is sitting naked in one chair, and then she pan over.
It pans over, and Cillian Murphy, totally naked, is sitting with his legs crossed.
In this weird, Joffrey Baratheon kind of way to sit on the Iron Throne.
with a cigarette in one hand. I mean, kind of an
balls in the other hand.
Kind of absolute alpha pose, but also definitely crushing his nuts with that pose.
Definitely.
I get that they didn't want to go full Cillian penile angle.
Yeah, but come on. There's no way it was not crushing his Oppenheimer sack.
Just keep the camera above his legs so we don't see him sitting.
I don't want to see his weird sweaty legs.
Yeah, just sitting like an absolute gentleman savant. But completely nude. Hilarious visual. We've decided that is on the same level of Statham post-coitus sitting.
Yeah, post-coitus just
arms out there.
Whereas, but that was more of a bass boost kind of feeling. This is a lot of a sloppy walking through a puddle noise is what I'm getting from this.
And also,
this screams thwaites.
God. But yeah, I don't know. I also think I can't remember what, it might have been in that scene, you leaned over to me and said, he's in his skinny boy era or something along those lines? No. Or you said skinny boy summer or something?
I don't remember what he said. But that was not there. That was where he was sitting at the table wearing a long white shirt. Where he also just looked like the Slender Man. I don't know.
You leaned over and said, you just, in the middle of this tense scene, I just hear in my ear, Skinny Pete audition?
That is what I said.
He's a lanky boy. I assume he thinned down for this, I guess, because Oppenheimer is notoriously quite a skeletal man because he's all racked with guilt. Or maybe he bulked up. Maybe I'm just completely insulting him. I guess he slimmed down.
He spent hours in the gym.
This is the beefiest role he's ever had.
It was all for that one nude scene. He was like, my calves need to look toned as fuck as I crush my balls.
And then the other nuttiness to be had.
Albert Einstein, I won't lie. Again, not the most intellectual man because in this movie about war and heroin guilt, some of the scenes I remember the most is Einstein doing a cheeky little walk.
Can I just say, when the trailer came out, there was a whole big meme because there's a part where he's like, you're going to need some help, and Einstein's there, and the whole meme was like, oh, it's like they're doing the Avenger, the whole cinema goes crazy, whatever. It is literally that vibe the entire movie.
Yeah, every time.
He's some kind of Nick Fury-esque cameo. There are multiple scenes. The one where he's in the forest. I'm like, what the fuck is happening here? They're walking in the forest, and Oppenheimer runs up to him. Albert. It's like fucking. It's like they're going to find like Hawkeye or something in the middle of the forest.
That's literally the vibe you get. It was like.
And then the deal sealer, because everything up until this point, it's kind of funny. Like, they're doing like a cinematic universe, whatever. Albert's Nick Fury. All of it, you can kind of. You wouldn't really remember it, but the deal sealer is this fucking scene where Oppenheimer's outside his house, someone drives away, and behind the car emerges Albert Einstein from the shadows. Like what? Like an actual Nick Fury type moment.
The most ominous moment
what
in the entire...
fuck was that? Like, I assumed Albert Einstein was like somewhere across the country. He's just in the shadows outside Oppenheimer. Like, don't you, also when he runs to him in the forest.
Don't you have somewhere to be, Albert?
Don't you guys like arrange meetings or something? Like, what the fuck is happening? I don't even remember anything he does in this movie. I just remember him like appearing as if he's fucking Phil Coulson or something.
Yeah. Back from the dead.
But in terms of, I guess it kind of plays into that because we thought it was quite funny, but it does play into one of my complaints, which is for quite a serious, and one would think in, trying to be quite sophisticated film. And generally speaking, I think a lot of the dialogue is solid and it's not super poorly written or anything. There are a few moments of dialogue,
and this is that stand out. And that's the moment that made you think that Matt Damon was a terrible actor in this movie.
Well, that's the thing. I've actually, if you can, real quick, grab my phone because I actually noted down.
Okay.
I wanted to come with receipts. I noted down a couple of examples of moments. There were moments just that, like, I found, for something, again, that's quite sophisticated, quite, like, dealing with high themes or whatever, and I guess they were trying to make it, I guess Christopher Nolan's been accused of making movies too hard to understand in the past. They were trying to dumb it down, whereas, like...
Yeah, you've been overshadowed in the papers, Oppenheimer. Hitler's attacking.
Well, that was one, where they fucking, it's such like it's almost like a fucking, a Family Guy moment or something, where it's like... September 1st, 1939. They'll remember this day forever, Oppenheimer. You got published in the paper. Oh no, Hitler attacked. It's like, what is happening here?
What a voice.
Emily Blunt, seeing him banging Florence Pugh, that was a little bit like...
Yeah, that was...
There were some moments that, like, you didn't need to be so intense about it. It's like, you could be a little more subtle of, like, yeah, we get
you get that she's not happy about it, but then out of nowhere she just fully sees the Oppenheimer happening.
Which that felt a little bit excessive.
It felt just comedic more than
anything. It felt also funny. There were just a few different moments and scenes that just also kind of like went fast. The Harry S. Truman, Gary Oldman as cartoon Harry S. Truman. Now apparently, I'll take back something we said yesterday, him calling him a crybaby. Apparently that did literally happen.
Okay.
So, but I also doubt the moment it was like a 30-second conversation. He walks in, he's like, it just felt so like unnatural, and
it felt like he just like the movie was like, okay, Harry Truman needs to give him a slap on the wrist and be like annoyed at him, and that's it.
Yeah.
Like, no one goes and meets the president for like 30 seconds, and he's like, get this bitch out of my office.
He's like, he walks in there, and the scene, like the conversation transitions so quickly. He's like, Russia's gonna have bombs or whatever. And Harry S. Truman's like, no, they're not. They're not gonna have bombs. I'm Harry S. Truman. I'm never gonna die. And then he goes like, oh, so I have blood on my hands. He's like, get the fuck out of my office, you little bitch. It's like,
is Harry clearly bipolar or something? What's going on here?
It's like, fast.
Well, yeah. There's also, again, I don't know if this was just the mindset back then, but sometimes we're like, oh, come on, Russia's not gonna do it. Like, yeah, they are.
Yeah,
why are you being so unrealistic? I don't know if that was just like overdone in the movie, which it probably was, or like put heavier emphasis on that than it actually was in real life. But there's some people are just so stupid with it. Like Harry, it was like, the Russians won't have it. It's like, why don't you think they'll have it, Harry? Like, what are you talking about right now?
And there were definitely moments that felt like I thought the whole Robert Downey Jr. trial thing was like, it was pretty decently written, but there were moments that felt like they had to get a plot point across, and so they just like condensed it into this kind of like very basic conversation. I was like, if in a movie that again feels kind of quite highbrow, felt a little bit like in your face, like here is the point of this scene. Mm-hmm. Albert's here.
Guys, just say when he approaches and meets Heisenberg, we both just looked at each other and started laughing.
He's like, I need someone for the job. Heisenberg. I also think my other big problem, and I think you would agree with this, where the pacing does kind of let up, which we had mentioned earlier. After they do the atomic test, which is a fucking amazing scene.
Yeah.
Then I knew that wasn't the end of the movie. It feels like a climax, but I get that it wasn't.
Yeah.
But
there is like a 20-minute segment.
There is a huge lull there because it's a like height of excitement, and then it goes into this like, you know, boardroom thing. But the thing is, a lot of the movies people talking.
Yeah.
And that's quite engaging.
And it's also leading up to something,
yeah,
you know?
This one, it felt like just characters, like they kind of hit the same beat over and over again. It went on for way too long. It kind of felt a little bit like every actor had a bit in their contract where it's like, well, I need to have a scene where I say a thing.
Well, I'm Roderick. I need to vomit.
And they were like, fuck it, okay, fine. You get a boardroom scene, you get a boardroom scene. And it went on for way too long, and it was at a terrible point in the film, really, for it, because just in terms of audience engagement, because you're kind of like coming off this really intense moment, and then instead of maybe like cooling down a bit, but now we have more movie, and it's okay, then we build up again. It just like dead drop to like
bit of a roller coaster.
Dialogue heavy, like, and not even dialogue heavy, technical heavy, very much. Were you a communist from this year to this year? I think you have whatever.
It's like, I don't like, even in the movie themselves, like, man, I don't fucking remember what happened 12 years ago. What do you want from me?
Yeah, I don't know. I thought it definitely took a little bit of a dip there. Let me just see, because I noted down one other. I think there was one other nutty thing.
Well, there's also the Damon thing, because we haven't actually said.
Oh yeah, I didn't even say the. So I just have a note here. Albert appearances, Robert naked pose. Two linked comments.
It wasn't Florence Pugh in the chair. It was a fully clothed Albert Einstein.
One of the moments that was like way over the top, which was in the trailer. In the trailer, I thought like that looks kind of goofy, but I guess in the movie it'd be better. There's a moment, and I guess he's a bit short fused or whatever, but where Matt Damon goes, he's like, "Why should I go help you guys?" And he's like, "Maybe because it's the most fucking important thing in the history of the fucking world." Like,
he had some meltdown. Matt, please. Well, in fairness, I do think that if it was just, again, written slightly better with maybe not that most intense, like that such intense dialogue, but like I do think him snapping at the dude there, because he's like, what should I doing? You know? It's like being a little bit of a snivelly little bitch, but like
I don't think you had to go,
I'm Matt Damon, save me on Mars. What he yells.
But the other nutty moment that definitely has to be discussed.
Yes.
Not only does Aku Paul show up in this,
he does.
Kenneth Branagh, but he plays a Dane.
He plays a Danish man.
Plays a man of our country.
God, Niels.
And you know what? The accent, not terrible.
Not the worst I've ever heard.
It's not very Danish. It switches between like German and vaguely Dutch or something.
Yeah.
But there are moments where I was like, that sounds kind of like a Danish person. How they would speak English.
I hear it.
He clearly studied a little bit.
Yeah, he did not, as we said afterwards, he didn't study Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. But
the only Danish thing I know how to say.
But it was not bad at all.
I'm Niels Bohr.
I'm Niels Bohr. Can I also
give me the Oppenheimer?
Can I please have some Sloppenheimer? You're building a bomb? Is that bomb ass of yours?
See, that was good Danish accent. That was great. But yeah, he was solid.
Is it just me, or whenever you hear Denmark mentioned in a movie like this, you're like, fuck yeah, let's go.
Yeah,
he's in Copenhagen.
Yeah.
Yes.
Even though the following line was like, it's occupied, we can't do anything about it. It was like not really a Danish pride moment, but
he's in Copenhagen. Yeah, it's full of Nazis.
Yeah. But overall, Oppenheimer, I'm gonna say, despite some flaws, very good film.
I agree.
I thought it was pretty much what I wanted it to be.
Mm-hmm.
Good biopic, fast paced, great performances, some goof.
Yeah.
But generally, an amazing visual moments. And also, we saw it in the Supreme Cinema, the fucking cinema shook.
God, it did
with those
shake
bombs.
With the, God damn it, those bombs make me shake. It was so good. Yeah, I mean, I think that is definitely the place to watch it. And also packed cinema in a way that was... when I watched Barbie, I sat behind these two. God damn. They were like waving, like I've never seen anything like it. They were like waving their hands in the air, and they were like screaming and yelling, and then they did this thing whenever there was any scene that maybe, you know, was slightly comedic, but wasn't like asking for a laugh out loud moment. They'd be like, ha 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 ha, like, you know, sarcastically. I was like, God. So it ended like towards the end. I was like, I leaned over and I, maybe too much for me, but I wish it was like, this ends now. They're like, okay, I'm sorry.
You did?
Yeah. Because everyone like in the cinema, they were like,
so they were like not enjoying it, and they were laughing sarcastically.
Yeah, so like they were like ha 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 ha, and they're like waving there so people couldn't see. All right, so people around were like, guys, stop. You know, like throughout the movie, and then like it got to a climax because they're sitting right in front of me. I was like, in Danish, I was like, nu stopper det, piger.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's kind of, I mean, very ominous in any other context, but I feel like appropriate there.
And then,
you're done when I say we're done. And that is now. But yeah, Oppenheimer,
pretty great.
Pretty great.
Also, can we just say the ending? I enjoyed where he gets like Robert Downey Jr. gets some comeuppance.
That was
with
good.
With a clutch Rami Malek moment.
And a cheeky Alden Ehrenreich in your face, Robert.
Boom.
That was pretty good. I have to say one other line that I thought was a bit kind of over the top, a bit in your face. The final line in the movie, because I thought, like, we get it. I thought it was actually kind of a, interesting metaphor where it's like they early in the film they think they can set off a chain reaction that will literally destroy the world.
Yeah.
And then if they'd maybe mentioned that, like, sort of he had heard, something from the past, like talking about the chain reaction they'll set off. And then it's kind of like, oh, interesting, because maybe they set off another kind of chain reaction. But then literally he's like, hey, Albert Einstein, you know how I said there's a chain reaction that will destroy the world? Yes, I thought you fixed that, Robert. What if we actually did that, like, metaphorically?
I don't know. I kind of like that.
I thought that was stupid.
I kind of like that moment.
No.
No, you didn't.
Cringe. Stupid.
Again, better writers needed.
Call me Hollywood. I know they're striking right now. I'm kidding.
I'm kidding. Although they are. So I mean, they are. I'm not really.
We support the strike.
Oppenheimer.